Okay, welcome back. This is week three now. In this week three, first thing I want to check up with you guys is I hope you guys are doing your daily rituals. They're very, very important. If you're not doing them, please get right on them. They're very, very critical to your success. In fact, a very key piece for you to succeed. You need to have a ritual like that. You need to trick your brain so your brain knows you are geared for success. Okay? Now, this week we're going to be talking about mental conflict, and I'm going to give you some science about mental conflict because most people are unaware of this and they go on living life without basically acknowledging what's a mental conflict. Now, if you can identify the mental conflicts, life is going to be a lot different. Okay? So, let's start with the basics. Now, what is a mental conflict? A mental conflict is basically when one idea conflicts with another idea inside your mind. Okay? Now, this can be conscious. Okay? If it's conscious, you'll take notice of it. But this can be subconscious. And generally, life goes in the subconscious state of mind unnoticed. Okay? So I'm going to go into some details here. Now, what you want, right? Your desire is very different from what you believe. Okay. Now, and this may and may not be true for some of you guys, but I'm gonna get into I'm gonna open this up a little bit so it makes a little bit more sense. Now, I'm gonna repeat that again. What you desire, what you want in life, may not go with what you believe. Okay. Now, here's an example. Society tells us take care of everyone, love the poor. It tells us help the peer, love thy neighbor, etc., etc., right? Now, that's wonderful. We all believe that. We all really feel that we need to help someone in need. Now, let's take that moment and reflect on the childhood growing up until the current state. Okay? You go to school, and in school, you're taught to compete, to be better than the next person. Your grades are a representation of who you are versus the next person. Okay? As you go home, your parents teach you to love everyone, but at the same time they're saying make sure you get an A in class. Make sure you do well in school because life does not forgive, so you must be better than the average. Now, you see how what we're trained to do, to what we're supposed to do, and to what we want, they're all different things. So if in life we want to get forward, we get these conflicts coming into our brain because we're trained a different way. Now, let's take money for an example. Okay? When most people think of money, what comes to your mind? If I say, okay, you have to think of money right now. Okay, what comes to your mind? Okay, it's usually going to be the training that comes to your mind from the past, which is don't waste money. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money, the more money you make, the more problems you have. Money causes bad relationships. You get so much of this experience and background of what money actually is that we start to look down upon money, but yet we're still trying to pursue money. Mental conflict. Mental conflict. Now, you guys are traders, right? So I want you to take a moment and think, well, what kind of mental conflicts do you have about trading? You can't trade this way. You shouldn't trade that way. Now, you go on living with these rules of you can't do this, you can't do that, but you yourself have no idea if you can or cannot. But you've just made it into a reality that this is how life is supposed to be when it comes to trading. You make it a reality that money is a negative thing. You make it a reality that loving others is not possible because I'm trained to compete. Okay? These are mental conflicts, and the best way to work on mental conflicts is to first address them. Okay, so even in this week, there should be an attachment for a mental conflict where you're gonna write down all the mental conflicts you have. Now, if you're trying to get ahead in trading, or you're trying to do well in life, or anything, any aspects of life that you're trying to do well in, I want you to write down the mental conflicts you have for it. So, which means you're going to start thinking back on what you know about this. What have you been trained about this by your peers, society, family, children, adults, grandparents? What do you know about that topic? So write down basically 3 main things you're looking to accomplish, and write down what conflicts you have in your mind that puts you in a state of mind that's subconsciously says you can't do it, but in reality you're trying to do it. Okay? Here's a common example. I want to become a very good trader. Okay? That might be a goal you're trying to aspire. But then on the conflict side of it is your brain keeps telling you, yeah, but only 95% of the people lose and only 5% of the people make it. You're not that unique. You're not that 5%. You're not that 3%. Okay? Trading is like gambling. So that's running in the back of your mind, but on the front side of the things, you're like, I want to trade, I want to become a trader, but in the back of your mind, you've actually accepted somewhere inside that it is gambling. Okay? So these are little aspects that you're going to have to work on the mental conflicts for. If you strive to see the benefits of things, you will be able to remove the conflicts of things. Okay? So priority number 1 is identify the conflicts. Once you identify the conflicts, you've already won half the battle. Okay? You know, I had a Palestinian boss when I used to work at a furniture store back in the day. And he used to give me in this little accent and everything, Naveen, identifying the problem is winning half the battle. I never understood what that meant until today. Okay? Until these days in life. Because I used to always think, what a crazy guy, you know? Like, I want the solution. But in reality is you can't work on a solution if you do not know the problem. Okay? If you identify the problem, you actually do win half the battle. Okay, so things get better and better and better. Now, this actually is going to be very useful. I'm also releasing a course called Goals, and I go very deep into identifying and winning battles and stuff like that, and how to do it very, very precisely. Okay, so I want you to start thinking. So when it comes to money or even trading, what kind of vibes do you have in your mind? Are they positive? Are they negative? And if they're positive, list them. What are the positive things you know about money? Write them down. Now I want you to also take a moment and write down what are the negative things you know about money. What are the negative things you hear about? And if you can say it out loud, somewhere in your body you believe it. Okay? So every time I tell you to write down something, you can pause the video so you don't, because I keep going on speaking, so you can pause the video. So what else do you know about trading? Write down the benefits you know about trading. Okay, all the good vibes. And write down the negative vibes. What all do you know about trading that actually stops you from being your absolute best? What's holding you back? Okay, once you're done with this list, I want you to take a look at that list and realize one thing. These are all issues in the mind. This does not represent reality. This is just information going one way in the mind and information going the other way in the mind, and they're having traffic accidents. But they're all happening in the mind when outside in reality something else might be true. The mind just playing this game of, I learned this thing, but according to this, I can't do that. And then on the other side, it says, I want to do this, but according to my knowledge, I can't do that. So it's almost like, is knowledge power or is knowledge a nuisance? So the real answer is knowledge actually is power, but it depends on how you use it. Okay? It's like a knife in your house. A knife can be a weapon, or a knife can be put to good use. It depends how you use it, right? And that's with anything in life. You can put it to good use or you can put it to bad use, but the choice is yours. And if the choice is yours, make a good choice. Okay? So, how do you fix this thing? How do you fix mental conflict? So you've identified some of the stuff, right? Now, the first step to fixing all these things after identifying this issue is you want to look back and see, where do you get all this information from? You know, for example, money doesn't grow on trees. Money is very hard to make. You know, I work day and night to earn this money and you're going to go out and spend it, or whatever you might be hearing from your parents as children, whatever you might be saying as parents to your children now. Whatever it may be, you want to start with accepting the past. Whoever taught you this, whoever gave you this knowledge, was simply trying to help you out. They were looking out for your best interest. Okay? Now, once you accept that information, because you can get very negative about it, like, I can't believe they're the ones who put it into my head and today I can't succeed because of that. No. Keep a positive state of mind, because once you start in the blame game, you're going to have a conflict in your mind because your brain's going to have negative chemicals and positive chemicals. You don't want to deal with that. Get into a positive state of mind and start to feel that whoever has taught you this knowledge was only trying to help. Okay? Once you accept that, I want you to think of conflicts that other people have in their life and you do not. You might be a sports person and you can get up and go running on demand and everyone else cannot. Now think of that conflict of that other people might have that which you do not have, and be like, how did you overcome that conflict? What did you do? Was it your past habits? Was it your discipline? How did you make it work? How did you overcome that? Think of another thing someone else might have a conflict, mental conflict with, but you don't. You might have good eating habits that other people might not. You might have good money management habits that other people might not. Now, while you're doing this, also think of, now relate that to your bad habits, the ones that you're getting mental conflict with, and notice a pattern. Okay? So, when you see the difference between the mental conflict, a lot of it has to do with your history. It happens to do with how you were raised, what school you went to, what was your surrounding, who were your peers. Now you are at a crossroad right now. The fact that you're listening to this means you have the knowledge to break through. You can choose to decide to say, nope, I'm going to stay at this crossroad and make a U-turn and go right back into that lifestyle. Or I can make a change. I can make a shift in my mind and I can say, enough. It's time to live a better life. All of this conflict is just in my mind. It is not a reality. I can make the difference. Okay? Once you start believing that, the conflicts start to fade away. Your confidence starts to rise, and when your confidence starts to rise, you have less conflicts. Have you ever had issues with making decisions? You wake up in the morning and you take so long to decide what you're going to wear. Or you reach a restaurant and you have no idea what you're going to order because the menu is confusing the hell out of you. You're like, what should I order? Mental conflicts. You're constantly looking at something and saying, that's good, but that. This is good, but that. A person who can make clear decisions has less mental conflict. So if you want to know, if you cannot realize if you have mental conflict, just realize how well do you make decisions. If your decisions are clear cut, straightforward, you have less mental conflict. If your decisions, like for example, you want to go on vacation with your family, and if you cannot say, okay, let's go, and the mental conflict comes in, yeah, but for me to go, actually I need to check this. But if I do that, what about happens if that happens? What if this? What if that? What if all these what ifs that come across? Think of it this way. If pharmaceuticals started making medicine before the disease, how crazy would the world be? Stop making the medicine before the problem. Do not do that. That's a mental conflict. You only make the medicine when there's the problem. Okay? This is a common thing that's happening around the world. People are living in so many ifs and thens and buying racks of insurance all over the place, and you're living in this mental conflict of I can't live freely. I can't live freely. Okay? So, work on that. Okay? And I want you to start thinking of yourself now, do you feel you can be the one that makes it? Okay? When you think about trading now, because you guys are traders and we're working on the trader's mindset, right? Do you feel you can make it in life? Do you believe it? Do you feel it from the inside? Okay? And if you do, how are you going to build your skills towards it? What are you going to do? What actions are you going to take? Or are you just going to think about being a good trader? What actions will you take? What things will you do? What habits will you empower? Okay? You want to stay on top of all of these things. Now let me tell you something. Once you start thinking in a certain way and you become more confident and you have less conflicts and you make better decisions in life, that's it. I'm going to raise my skills to a whole new level. I'm going to start jumping into uncomfortable areas, in areas I do not know about, because if I don't know about it and I jump into there, whatever happens, good or bad, I learn. And if I learn it, that is my experience. I don't have to learn it from someone else's experience or knowledge. I have first-hand knowledge with it. There's no beating that ever. There's no topping that ever. Okay? I'm going to give you an example before we go. Imagine you're driving a car. You've been driving for years now. Now you're driving a car, you're at an intersection. It's a red light, and you're waiting because you have to make a left turn. The light turns green, and as you prepare to drive and make that left, you see a car coming at full speed, and based on how you're seeing how he's driving, you have a feeling, that person is not going to stop at his red light. Now, your brain is processing information at full capacity at this point because you're in emergency mode. You're feeling that you're about to have an accident because a person's coming right at you. Now, I want you to take a moment and think, at what point in your life did you sit down in a class where they said, okay, accident number 4,782, let's learn this pattern. Accident number 5,655, let's learn this pattern. You never learned the different types of accidents. All you've learned is how to drive, and when life comes at you like that, or in trade comes at you like that, just like an accident, just like a snowflake, even a trade is very unique. But how you deal with this, your instincts get built up by more and more driving, by more and more consciously being right there and then. I can tell you a million ways of how to avoid an accident, but what if you don't get that situation? What are you going to do? So, the more I give you stuff that's negative, saying you're going to have an accident if you do this, you're going to have an accident if you do that, you're going to start building mental conflict. Once you start building mental conflict, you're going to make less decisions. Once you make less decisions, your confidence drops. Once your confidence drops, you're back at the starting point of, I need to make it in life and I don't know what to do. Okay? So, work on this conflicts. I know it's a very heavy, very dark topic this week, but it has to be out there. I had to put it out there for you guys to actually break through it. So I want you to let me know in the comments below of what are the major mental conflicts you think people are dealing with? What are the major conflicts have you done well on, but other people you see have problems with? So I want you to be proud and not worry about if you're going to look too boastful. Be proud of it, write it below in the comments of what you do well that others do not. Okay? Be proud of it. Own it. Learn to own your success. Don't be shy and say, I shouldn't say that because I will look boastful. No. Build your confidence. Stand up strong. Put your shoulders up high and be like, this is what I do well because I can see others can't do it. Be proud of it. That's going to raise your confidence level a whole lot more. Be that melon head. It's fine. Keep going. Because that is the only way you're going to step into unseen territories. And unseen territories is where success lies, right? If it lies in what you already know, you would have had success by now. Step into the unknown. Step into the unknown. I'll see you guys next week.